I know that there's going to be a lot of twists and turns emotionally with this Mets season. There's no doubt. I think, just based on the injuries, based on the circumstances right now, I think yesterday, coming off their first losing series, coming off the Scherzer news, coming off the fact that the bullpen was getting loose late, Diaz, that's never fun. And he's been very good, but God, if you're a Mets fan and you see that, that worries you. And this incredibly daunting West Coast trip coming up, I thought by far, that was the biggest win of the season. That was needed.
It shows the character of this team. It'd be really easy to get down on yourself after all the injuries that the Mets have had. But and again, I said yesterday, this team is cursed. That doesn't mean they're going to be bad. It just means they can't have nice things. They got to do it the hard way. They got to fight through all of the issues that they're going through. But when you have a well-constructed team and you have a masher who came up clutch like Pete Alonso, and you have a skip like Buck Showalter who keeps these guys on the straight and mind-narrowed a course of winning, you're going to win games like this. And hats off to them. It would have been really easy, and they would have had an easy excuse to have faltered last night, and they didn't. And you got to give them a ton of credit, because when you're faced with adversity, sometimes it's easy to just say, look at us, this stinks. Where are we going now? This Mets team is not going to be that way. We've known this for weeks. They just showed it in dramatic fashion last night after giving up a lead and having to go into extra time.
All right, so we've got a big sports weekend, which is always fun. Rangers-Canes game 2 tonight. Cortez, big start for him. He's on the hill. You and I obviously discussed this week with the tweets, and Yankees back home. Tough one for the Yankees. I mean, you literally can't win them all, so I guess you don't react too much to that, though. You don't like seeing the bullpen do what they did. Here's the bottom line, though. I think that, when I look at Alonso and I look at the rest of this Mets team, and I think even maybe more specific, and maybe I'm going to react too much to the optics of what SNY's cameras have been feeding us the last couple days, but watching Scherzer walk off the mound, all right, a couple of nights ago, and then SNY panning the crowd shots, and seeing the palpable angst that was, etched on the faces of so many Mets fans. And then yesterday, the audible groans, and rightfully so. Ground ball to Escobar. Suddenly, Escobar's not even a good third baseman. Muffs that one. Tie score. All right, what's going to happen? Mets going to lose a heartbreaker or no? Or are you going to be saved by your best player? And here's the deal for Alonso. I'm going to push this one forward here. Pete Alonso, this is my takeaway for the Mets, right? That Pete Alonso is 27. He's entering his prime. He's off to a really good start. Leads the NL in bombs. Leads baseball in ribbies. His OPS is trending toward 900. Tiki, for the Mets to weather this summer, and I know you can tell me, and you're not wrong, they need to get somebody. And I've been saying that for a while. Need a bat, need a bat, need a bat, need a bat. And the recent circumstances has further necessitated the need to make a move, and they will. But Pete Alonso needs to have a top 3, top 5 MVP performance this season, this summer, to keep the Mets afloat.
Yeah.
And he's off to the kind of start where all he's got to keep doing is what he's done so far.
Yeah. No, I agree. Look, it's hard you can't disagree with that at all, because Pete Alonso, with a team that doesn't have as many bombers as some of the other, big.
Well, they have any bombers besides him.
Other than him, but they don't have a ton of ways to score easy runs. Of course, he's going to have to do that. And we know that Steve Cohen is likely to go get a bat at some point, and whether it's Dom Smith or whoever ends up as one of the odd men out as they go, fill out this roster and get some more power on it. But the other thing that they need to happen is Francisco Lindor turn into who Francisco Lindor is supposed to be. And it was interesting, and I'm not going to nitpick on him, but I have to, because I heard him, or at least I read some of his comments around this game about after the Scherzer injury, and obviously DeGrom is injured, and McGill is injured. This pitching staff has taken some hits here. They asked him whether or not he felt like he needed to do more, if there was more pressure on him. And his answer was no. He said no. And I found it odd that a guy who is supposed to be your star, alongside Pete Alonso, would say no when asked if he felt he needed to pick up the slack because of the injuries.
How'd he say it?
Well,
that's important to me.
It is important, and he said it, I think, as a way to galvanize,
empower the other guys,
to talk about how well constructed the team is, saying no. Our team isn't built like that. Like we have guys that can step to the occasion. But I would think that Francisco Lindor, still a young man making a ton of money, would say, yeah, this is on me to do my part as well, right? To be the star that they're paying me to be. And I guess in time that'll come, hopefully, if you're a Mets supporter and believer. But Francisco Lindor's not wanting to be that guy in that moment, that bothered me a little bit, because I think once you know you're good, you're good. Like, you're good. You say, I'm great, right? I'm going to be great because that's what my team needs. That worried me a little bit. 100% agree with you on Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso's got to be the Mets version of Aaron Judge. But Francisco Lindor, he needs to rise to the occasion, and he's not talking like he is, and he's not doing it at the plate either.
Although he had a nice stretch.
He did.
Reached base 8 straight times before the strikeout, which was an ugly strikeout.
100%.
Late, but he was picking it up.
But you know my point.
Yeah, I got you.
There is a star mentality that Francisco Lindor needs to have. And if he has it and he produces, the Mets fans will love him forever. But I understand why the Mets fan is a little bit trepidatious with trusting Francisco Lindor right now.
Oh, absolutely. That part I totally get. No, I got you. Interesting observation, Teague. I didn't really, and trust me, if anybody's going to make a little mountain out of a molehill, it's usually me. Interesting. I saw the quotes. I didn't hear it, and that's obviously where inflection, tone, that's important. But no, I got you. All right, so it's 10:09 on this Friday. It's the Tiki and Tierney Show inside the Town Fair Tire Studio. Our friends at Town Fair remind you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. We got Hoff, we got Dove, ready to rock, 877-337-6666. And I want to be clear. The Mets don't need Alonso to be an all-star. They need Alonso to be a superstar. I want you to listen to the gauntlet coming up that the Mets are facing, right? 3 at Colorado. Now, Colorado's not playing well, but the Mets are obviously banged up.
And it's going to be cold.
It is going to be cold, yeah.
I think there's snow one day.
I heard, by the way, speaking of Colorado and cold, I heard Howie Rose. I'm listening to both games, Yanks and Mets, going home from this station yesterday. And Yanks heard a commercial, bounce over to the Mets on 880, right? And Howie's telling a story about how, I guess it would have been 96. That was their first year, right? The Rockies were born in 96, I think it was. 96, because the Rockies and the Marlins won the World Series in 96. I think it was 96. Well, either way. Or maybe it was a couple of years earlier, maybe 93, whatever it was. And I think it was 93. Somebody just tell me so I don't have to verbally talk in circles. That's the cue. Look it up. Right? So anyway, what's that, Hoffy?
93.
Attaboy. Thank you, Hoff. So I'm driving and Howie's telling this story about how he was not prepared to go for this trip. I guess he was doing TV. He was filming it on TV, and you can't, whatever it was, the configuration of the stadium, they couldn't like close the door, the windows to the press box, so he was freezing. So he goes, I guess he does maybe a Friday night game, whatever, goes to this store, as a chain. He buys a jacket, I don't know, maybe a $200 parka, ski jacket, whatever he buys, right? And he, now he's a little warmer, does the games, it's freezing, goes home, still has the tag on the jacket. Can you believe Howie Rose takes the jacket, returns it back to the chain store, and because he kept the receipt, got the money. He basically rented a jacket. It was a funny story. But they've got 3 at Colorado, 3 at San Francisco. The Giants playing better. They've won 7 of 10. 3 against Philly. It's always interesting. And then you've got the Nats, which obviously you can kind of exhale a bit. But then you've got 4 at the Dodgers, beginning the first week in June, 3 at the Padres, and 3 at the Angels.
It's a lot.
There can be no prolonged fluctuations in performance from Alonso. It might sound unfair. It might seem unreasonable, but that's what they need, and I think that he's up for it.
And it would help
Hope he
if
is.
Francisco Lindor comes along for the ride.
Join the party. That would be good as well. 877-337-6666. All right. Joe's in Queens on the Fan. What's happening, Joe?
Hey, Brandon. Hey, Tiki. How you guys doing?
We're good. What's up, dude?
Hey, Joe.
Optimistic Mets fan here. I've always been one of seeing the glass half full more than negative over the years, which has tested my fandom. But listen, I think they can weather this storm. I totally hear you on the schedule. It's always nerve-wracking for the Mets when they go West Coast over the years. The wheels have fallen off over the years. But I do think there's a difference this season. And I really think it's Buck Showalter's leadership.
Yep.
He's already said this team is not going to panic. They've lost DeGrom. They've lost Scherzer. They've lost McGill. Hopefully McGill can come back and give you some innings because they are going to need innings at some point. And what Steve Cohen has proven, he will go out and make a move. If this team, if Williams can't hack it and there's no pitching, they'll get somebody. And I agree with everything you guys have said. I will take exception with you a little bit on Lindor.
Okay.
I know he hasn't performed to the level of like a superstar across baseball.
Yep.
Because the Mets are paying him like that. But when you look at his stats as a shortstop across baseball, he's arguably been one of the best shortstops this year.
Defensively, without a doubt.
Offensively too.
Yeah.
Offensively too. He's got the most runs scored across all shortstops in baseball. He's top 5 in home runs. Granted, it's super early.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the difference in him between this season and last season, he came out red hot.
Yeah.
And he did go into that swoon a little bit. But the last two games, I think he was on base 8 consecutive times.
Oh, yeah.
He scored a ton of runs. He was in the middle.
He's been great the last 6 games. He's been great.
Yeah.
3 hits or 2 hits last night. Scored 3 runs. I mean, he was a big part of the win last night. But this is less about what he was doing. It's more about what he's saying. Francisco Lindor, to me, should be saying, look, I'm great. Mets fans can count on me. Not, we'll push it off to the team. And again, you want to be a good teammate, but sometimes in a time like this, you want one of your best players, I won't call him the best player, but one of your best players to be cocky about it. And he just wasn't. He was being humble about it. And I hope that that's his way of staving off pressure. But at the end of the day, Francisco Lindor needs to be great, as well as Pete Alonso.
Joe just referenced where he ranks among shortstops, right? Yeah. I've gotten a lot of people have tweeted me these numbers, so I want to actually hit you with them here because it's an interesting thing. And there's some good stuff there, but I think there's some stuff that I think people are overreacting to. So he's 4th in this is among shortstops. Mm-hmm. 4th in home runs. He's 1st in runs. He's 3rd in ribbies. 1st in walks. 4th in steals. 6th in on base. 7th in OPS. And 5th in WAR. I think. No. Okay, so forget about that last one.
Yeah.
Those are good numbers, right? But to me, I mean, that's also oddly specific. That's like saying, well,
I agree.
Like from, Tiki and Tierney have, their show's pretty good on a Tuesday at 11:13 to 11:22 in the morning.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's making $35 million a year. He should have the 7th best OPS among baseball players.
That's right.
Not shortstops.
That's right.
So I get it. I've seen the numbers. I read the tweets. He has been playing better, but I got you, Teak. He needs to.
What you get paid matters. Like what your
it always will.
What you get paid tells me what the expectation is for you.
I agree.
So compare him to those guys that are making that around that, and that's a big. It's not a huge swath, but he's not living up to what these other guys are.
Man. His OPS is 720 and whatever it is. And by the way, I'd have to update these because people sent me these the last couple of days. Trevor Story had a couple of home runs and 7 ribbies last night. Does that drop Lindor in a couple even though Story's been bad?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to really update him. The point is, he's got to be the man with Alonso. We know that for sure. Let's get, how about Adam right here in Manhattan on the Fan, Tiki and Tierney. What's up, Adam?
What's up, guys? Good to get through. And Brandon, I might be digging in just a little bit too hard into semantics in what you said.
Yeah.
But when you say Alonso has to be, all-star level, MVP level to keep the Mets afloat, I get what you're saying. And it's the Mets offense, it certainly isn't constructed in a modern way in the sense that it's not all sort of take and rake. But the Mets should be a solid offensive team regardless. I mean, Nimmo, McNeil, Marte, they're guys who can hit. They're not 35 home run hitters. But yes, they have an absolute black hole at catcher on offense for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, so does everyone. I mean, almost everyone.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And like I said, I think it's, in fact, if I had to guess, I'd say digging a little too hard in on your point. And your point isn't actually to stay, quote unquote, afloat, that Alonso needs to be an MVP.
Well, let me ask you this, Adam. Adam, let me ask you this. If Pete Alonso is sub-All-Star-ish, you think the Mets have a chance? Because I don't.
You mean for the whole season, sub-All-Star? What does a chance mean? I mean, here's my point, I guess. When you say
he's got to be one of the best players in the NL, which he is. My point, Adam, he's got to keep it up.
No. I mean, I think I guess we're on the same page here. I guess. I mean, that's fair, but
okay. So you really have no critique with what I said, basically.
No, but when you say to stay afloat, I mean, it's not like if he's sub MVP level, I think all of a sudden they're a 76-win team.
No, I got you. Okay, so you understood. You wanted a little more context within that declaration. Okay, I can live with that. I would flip this back to any other Met fan right now. Thanks for the call there, bud, Adam. So without Scherzer, we know the name. We don't have to keep repeating names. With their current starting pitching staff, do you envision, Hoff, I want to ask you this question, because this will, I think, reinforce my Alonso point, which I stand by. Do you think the Mets will be in more 3-2, 2-1 games or 6-5, 7-6, 8-5 games before their star pitchers come back? The next month and a half, next 2 months.
They're probably going to have to do the shootouts. They're probably going to have 5, 6, scores a game.
That's my point.
Yeah.
And Alonso's got to be in the middle of that. And so far he has been. That's all I was saying. That's it. Let's get Eric and Clifton on the fan. What's up, Eric? How are you?
Good morning, guys. Happy Friday.
Yeah,
Thank you, Matt.
So the easy answer, Brandon, is you're 100% right. Our two best pitchers are out for a prolonged period of time. Other guys need to pick up, especially our superstars. Lindor's got to pick his game up. Alonso definitely has got to smash the ball. Because other teams are just by natural selection. They're going to be in our bullpen a lot quicker. I mean, our front two guys are out for at least 8 weeks. So you're 100% right on that. The one thing I did want to address was yesterday. It seemed like it was like Munchausen met Stockholm syndrome on this show yesterday with Mets fans, and it was just driving me bonkers. We are going through the biggest transformation this organization has ever seen. We were the hostages, and Steve Cohen came Chuck Norris style and rescued us from the Will Punt. Thank God.
Great analogy. Love it.
This guy is worth nearly over $20 billion. And I heard somebody mention yesterday, the stock market was getting hit. And
that's true. But no, he's fine. Don't worry.
He's a long-short equity fund, so they can make money when it's up or down. This guy knows how to make money. He knows what he's doing. The only mistake, and me and Hoff agreed on this, was last year he was trying to fit in, and he wanted to do things, quote-unquote, the right way with the other owners. And what happened? He got embarrassed. Atlanta winds up winning the championship, and the team they got embarrassed. And so what did he do? He got Epler a year late. And Hoff and I said, had we had Epler last year, we would have had Realmuto. We would have had Springer. But you know what? We've got him now. And, Cohen's saying, here's my money. Spend it. What did Epler do? Inside of a 1 week between free agent starting and the lockout, he goes and spends $250 million.
Yeah, but hold on a second, Eric. Hold on a second. Eric, the money I get that, but let's not make it seem as if the players that they spent on before the lockout have been really good. Because they haven't been. I mean, Escobar's falling apart, dude.
Yeah.
Now he can't even field. 8-7. I like Marte, but Escobar's the problem. 877-337-6666. Tiki and Tierney on the fan. We'll get to the Yankee stuff later on. Rangers game 2 and a busy sports weekend right here in New York City.